Chariots, and especially single-entity chariots, are some of my favorite units in the game for one simple reason. They require a decent amount of micro to use effectively, but if microed and used effectively, they can be absolutely devastating. Myself taking Slaanesh against Rider Rohan's signature High Elves. I've got double character chariot here with the Lord of Slaanesh on his chariot. Does armor piercing, 80 charge bonus with devastating flanker as well, which is hilarious. He's also got physical resistance, of course, with Mark of Slaanesh, some missile resistance as well, and 110 armor. Plus, I didn't realize this actually until this, but he's got a silver shield, which is going to give him a decent 55% missile block chance. So we're going to put that to the test as I yellow him forward into a bunch of high elf bows. Also got 4 Furies and a couple of Hellstriders. Need this build to be somewhat sensible, although I would generally say that the Slaanesh single-entity chariots are very strong. We've got another one here with the Lores, Lore of Slaanesh, also on her chariot. Armor-piercing anti-large, even faster speed with magical poison damage. Very low armor, being a demonic unit, but also has perfect vigor, which is just fantastic. Charging is one of the actions a unit can do that drains their vigor the fastest. Chariots usually tend to get tired pretty quickly, so this perfect vigor is actually extra good on a unit of this type. Of course, we can cast lots of spells with Lore of Slaanesh. I'm going to be spamming that Acquiescence and Lash as much as possible. For a Rider Rohan's response, oh yeah, infantry lines. Just devoted marauders. We've also got the Bringers of Beguilement for some fun. Tyrion is here with some Reaver Archers pushing up the flank, staunch line of White Lions, and a nice density of bows as well, with Lothran Seaguard and Archers mixed, a Life Mage and a Light Mage. Gonna net currently the Lord of Slaanesh. I don't think Rider Rohan realized exactly how tanky this guy was to missiles. Certainly I didn't, until I reanalyzed this replay later on and realized, like, oh yeah, you've got physical, missile resistance, the shield, and the armor all coming into play here. And even despite that, I mean, Lord of Slaanesh doesn't have that much HP at the end of the day on the chariot, so he does end up taking a decent amount of damage, but also tanking beautifully, allowing some of my lighter Slaanesh units to get into combat relatively unopposed. We're going to get a big cavalry engagement developing on this flank over here with the Furies and Hellstriders moving in together while the chariots start to punch through and disrupt. And Rider Rohan is going to bravely charge these White Lions in. And I'm just going to leave it here so we can watch exactly what happens. Little Lash of Slaanesh there in the background. And in real time, in a matter of seconds, these Demonettes have entirely killed this unit almost. Absolutely impressive. Definitely should have netted and focused the Bringers of Beguilement there, but because the net had already been burned on my Chariot Lord there, he wasn't able to do so. That said, Tyrion, of course, is an absolute Chad. Besides the Bringers of Beguilement, I really don't have a great direct response to him. Figure maybe in the late game, if my Chariots can go, you know, mono-y-mono or 2v1 with him, even better, would be okay. We're going to throw around this Fascination as well on some of these Lothran Seaguard, pull them into combat. To his credit, Rider Rohan does start focusing these Bringers of Beguilement as soon as he can, but at this point the Chariots are running rampant in the back line. Both character Chariots doing a great job disrupting these units. We've got Furies now freed up from that cavalry fight, can come in and continue to tie down and massacre these poor Elven Archers. So not a great time to be an Elven Bow unit in this backline area. They are all going to get fairly well tied up, but they're definitely dishing damage back. I mean, Furies are not a tanky unit at all. And as they get engaged in this kind of pitched combat where more of these White Lions are, they get absolutely massacred. But it's to be expected. We've also got regrouping units on both sides. These Illyrian Reaver Archers trying to make an impact in melee, but getting quickly rerouted again as the Horsemen of Slaanesh and the Hellstriders come back. Tyrion running around doing his best to try and preserve things. The Bringers of Beguilement have continued to fight despite taking horrendous damage from the focus of bows. A little bit of Earthblood there as well to keep Tyrion and his casters all topped up. White Lions continuing to try to fight, but the Bringers, man, they are one of the strongest, if not the strongest, pure melee unit in melee, right? Obviously very squishy to missiles. We see even some Lothran Seaguard shooting them in the back here. But their damage output is absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, Exalted Demonettes are just insane, and they especially with that Enrage effect. They have locked both those casters down and now basically routed them both off. Yep, looks like one of them's coming back for more. And they still have 18 models and decent leadership continuing to fight. Give that euphoric, that rampage to Tyrion. And also deal some significant damage to him. That said, looking out at the rest of the battlefield, I mean, I'm just mostly chasing routing units at this point. We've got a lot of these Elven Bowmen and other units routed off, and I don't want them coming back. Elven leadership is famously pretty good. Definitely tough to break these units, so once I have them broken, I want to keep them broken for as long as possible, even if that means, you know, sort of sacrificing a handful of units. The Bringers of Beguilement certainly already paid for themselves, so I don't mind that trade at all. And we'll kind of hang around with the Chariot characters as well, try and stay relatively close to be able to support these infantry against enemy infantry, but definitely don't want any casters coming back from route, don't want any more Earthblood shenanigans. There's no Dwellers below either. Not that that would be particularly helpful against these character Chariots. I mean, certainly with Rider of Rohan's build, the best answer he has is Tyrion, and the Tyrion still has quite a bit of healing cap space left. Still the possibility of Heart of Averlorn, of course. Figure if I can isolate him in the late game, though, and deal with enough of his army, we might just be able to army loss Tyrion in the late game. So let's see. Fast forward a little bit through this cleanup phase as I run my Chariots through the last of his infantry. Tyrion's going to run on in, but like I said, just gets army lost. I mean, legitimately, had army losses not occurred, he might have been able to tank that out to a large degree, but I think, I mean, with support, certainly Fury's still alive, Hellstriders, 2 character Chariots also do have armor-piercing damage, probably could deal with Tyrion in the late game, but certainly the Slaanesh Lord here is more of the tank, and the DPS comes largely from the Allures and the Demonettes. I mean, yeah, the Demonettes clean up an insane amount of value, and definitely myself kind of baiting out the net and the shooting. Again, it's on the face value of it, it's not a bad idea to try and snipe enemy Lord like that, but at the same time, with those very scary Demonettes on the field, obviously, would benefited him to just shoot them to death, rather than let them, even, you know, even if they do get in contact and still deal significant damage, just to try and thin that out a little bit. But facing a Slaanesh rush is definitely tough, especially when, like in a build like this against the High Elves, you can cover almost all of your bases. Like, the only thing I was really legitimately worried about here was maybe a dragon. I don't know 100% if I'd have the tools to deal with that, but figured we could probably, you know, make it work in a pinch with what I had here. But an interesting one. Slaanesh is definitely fun to play in multiplayer land battles, at least. Still very strong in domination, but yeah, the High Elves on the other side here, White Line, Front Line, I get it to a degree, but I almost think Silver and Guard are probably the best in this matchup, just due to their charge defense and magic resistance, anti-large, all that. Slaanesh, I mean, maybe he expected me to go with like a weird heavy armor type build here, but I mean, the AP of the White Lines is a little bit wasted in this situation. I do like the density of archers quite a bit, though. I think go with more of those, and I think Rider Rohan would probably agree. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed watching that one, if you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. See you next time.